The Crime Writers Association was established in 1953, so it's even older than me. It was set up by a crime writer, John Creasy, and he set it up to support, promote, and celebrate the genre. My own experience of the Crime Writers Association is that we are a very friendly bunch of people. I'm so pleased to hear that we embraced you, even though
That's certainly my experience. Everyone I've spoken to has been so lovely.
We hold annual conferences where we can all get together. And in addition, there are a lot of local chapters which host meetings, have speakers, and generally offer support to each other. And of course, the Crime Writers Association offer Dagger Awards to writers every year. And that's really what we're here to talk about. So first of all, I do want to thank ProWritingAid so much for hosting this. Huge thanks to the Crime Writers Association for the Dagger Awards, and a special mention, if I may, to Dee, our wonderful administrator at the CWA, who really keeps me sane, and I'm sure everybody else in the organisation as well.
Everybody thank you, Dee. You're the best. I think she's here. Hi, Dee.
Yeah, everybody needs a Dee in their lives.
Okay, so do you want to let's take us through what you've got on your list to cover.
Okay, shall I get started then?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll take it away. Right, so the Crime Writers Association not only celebrates the very best in crime writing, but it also offers support to emerging and aspiring crime writers. There are a number of ways you can approach the CWA for help with your writing, and I'll say a few words about that later. But before I read out the long list, I'd like to tell you a little about the Debut Dagger Award, how it's structured, what goes on behind the scenes, and to share a few writing tips of my own. One of the challenges facing new writers is to actually get your manuscript noticed in the so-called slush pile. Agents and publishers might typically receive 70 submissions in a week, so anything you can do to help attract attention to your writing has to be worth considering. This is where the Debut Dagger can be very important, because all the shortlisted entries are sent to literary agents and publishers. And having reached the shortlist for the Debut Dagger generates a lot of interest. So the Debut Dagger competition has helped many published authors to achieve their writing goals. The panel of judges for the Debut Dagger is made up of 2 top literary agents, a commissioning editor for a leading publisher, and myself. As writer of the million-selling Geraldine Steele crime series, former member of the Crime Writers Association board, and myself shortlisted for 2 CWA Daggers in the past, I am privileged to chair the judging panel for the Debut Dagger Award. The judging process for this award is as rigorous as possible. All of the judges are aware of the responsibility attached to judging this award, which will almost certainly prove life-changing for the winner and the writers shortlisted. Every single entry is sent anonymously for independent assessment by 2 expert readers, and in the case of any discrepancy in their judgment, there will be a 3rd reader. From that assessment process, a long list of around a dozen entries is selected, and these are sent, again anonymously, to the panel of judges who independently subject the entries to a uniform assessment process to whittle the list down to a shortlist of around 6 entries. So while judging someone else's writing is inevitably going to be subjective, I can assure you we take every measure we can to ensure that we're as fair and objective as possible. And I'll say more about what we might be looking for in a minute. But first, I'd like to share with you a few comments about the Debut Dagger that we've received from past entrants. Emma Anwar won in 2008, and as a result, got a literary agent and a publisher. Western Fringes was published in 2018, and this year, with a new book, Stone Cold Trouble, he's been longlisted for the Gold Dagger for Best Crime Novel of the Year. And here's what Emma says about winning the Debut Dagger. I sent off the first chapter of my first attempt at writing a novel with absolutely no illusions of winning or even coming close. For me, the whole purpose of entering was to get my first official rejection, to prepare me for all the rejections to come. So it was a complete shock to receive a letter from the CWA a few months later informing me that I'd been shortlisted for the award. I was amazed. As a shortlisted writer, I was invited to the Gala Awards dinner held in central London. Of course, I jumped at the chance to attend and spend an evening with all the famous authors who'd be there. Never in my wildest dreams had I expected to win. I very gratefully accepted the award and the congratulations of the many wonderful people there. It was an evening I'll never forget. Next day, I was contacted by several agents who'd loved the first chapter and asked to read the rest of the manuscript. As it was my first attempt at writing a novel, the whole process was a huge learning experience. Winning the award spurred me on and gave me the confidence and self-belief to keep going when I might otherwise have given up. It's been an amazing experience. To anyone thinking of entering the competition, I'd say definitely go ahead and do it. Another winner, M.W. Craven, was shortlisted for the Debut Dagger in 2012 and winner of the Gold Dagger in 2019. He's been longlisted again, both for the Gold Dagger and the Ian Fleming Steel Dagger. And here's what he says. At some point, you have to put yourself out there, and the Debut Dagger seemed a great way to dip my toes in the water, maybe get some feedback on what I was doing. Best investment ever. A month or so later, I got the most extraordinary email. I'd been shortlisted. Much excitement in the Craven household that morning, I can assure you. I submitted to Darren Laws, the owner of Caffeine Nights Publishing, and he offered me a contract and told me that the Dagger shortlisting, which was by then the first thing I put on any submission email, had influenced his decision enormously. In 2015, Born in a Burial Gown was published, and although it didn't break any sales records, I was a published author, and more importantly, had a calling card, which gained the attention of a literary agent who sold my next book to Little Brown as part of a 2-book deal. And it went on to win the CWA 2019 Gold Dagger for Best Crime Novel of the Year. My agent has also sold it to date in 17 foreign language territories. And the TV rights were sold a full year before the hardback was released. The sequel, Black Summer, is out now both in hardback and paperback and is doing very well. I've been able to leave my job and become a full-time writer. And all this success comes from entering the Debut Dagger in 2013. And finally, Anna Caig was highly commended in the Debut Dagger in 2020 and has signed with an agent as a result. Here's what she says about the experience. I first entered the Debut Dagger in 2018 with the book I wrote on my career break. The competition provided a clear goal, a sense of community, and a deadline. It supported my growing understanding of what it might actually take to make this crazy dream come true. I wasn't longlisted, but I did finish the book. Following an unsuccessful second attempt, The Spey Wife was the book I entered for the Debut Dagger in 2020. I'm thrilled to say it was third time lucky for me with the competition. I was shortlisted for the prize. I didn't win, but I was highly commended and have signed with a superb literary agent. I'm currently in the process of polishing The Spey Wife to get it ready for submission to publishers. My crime writing journey has been a source of huge fulfillment and purpose, and the Debut Dagger competition has been a big part of that journey. Well, I could go on, but that's probably enough to give you a flavour of what some of the entrants have said about their success in the Debut Dagger. All the shortlisted authors from 2020 have been approached by agents and publishers. So getting on the shortlist certainly invites attention from professionals in the publishing industry. Well, I promised to tell you a little of what goes on behind the scenes with the judging. After the extensive readings and selection of the long list, the judges get to work. We assess the entries according to 8 different criteria, which include the quality of the prose, plausibility, narrative voice, setting, and character. The last criterion on our list is this a good read? Well, there could be one of a number of hooks that might make us want to read on. It could be the narrative voice is particularly engaging. It could be a thrilling plot, an engaging character, an interesting setting. Ideally, we would like to have all of them in the books that we read. Our scores are compared and a shortlist is then compiled after some discussion. Sadly, we can't include everyone, and sometimes we do have to leave out authors that one or two of us really, really wanted to include. So then we're down to our shortlist, and it's really difficult to decide on an overall winner. We have a group meeting. Before 2020, we met up in a private room in a restaurant in central London to compare notes and discuss who might win the Debut Dagger. Last year, we held our meeting online in a secure site. This year, we're hoping we'll be able to meet outdoors. Some years it takes a very long time to agree on a winner, and other years it can be a fairly quick decision if we all agree. We haven't yet come to blows, but we do have some quite heated discussions. One thing we all agree on is that it's a wonderful privilege to be part of this process, helping to launch the careers of other writers. The judges are not paid. We do this out of a passion for supporting the emergence of good writers. So as I mentioned earlier, the CWA, Crime Writers Association, is very supportive of new and aspiring writers. And one important support measure we offer to all writers is a professional critiquing service by experienced published authors who not only know how to write, but also how to appeal to readers. And of course, literary agents and publishers are readers that we're all keen to impress. Information about the CWA critiquing service can be found under Criminal Critiques in the Competitions section on the CWA website, where you'll find all the details you need, along with details about our editing service. Criminal Critiques offers an expert structural edit of your work, looking at the strengths and weaknesses of your manuscript and offering constructive suggestions on how you might improve your narrative to make it as strong as possible. And don't forget that once you have received a critique and worked again on your manuscript, PWA, ProWritingAid, offers expert copy editing and proofreading to eliminate errors in the accuracy of your writing. So if you're thinking of entering the Debut Dagger next year, or of submitting your work to literary agents and publishers, you might want to seriously consider taking advantage of these services before submitting your manuscript. Remember, you only have one chance to make a good first impression. And I could not count the number of manuscripts I have looked at where there is clearly such a brilliant book in there, but it just needs a little bit of tweaking or bringing out. We all need a second pair of eyes on our work. And I've had 24 books published, but my manuscripts still go to an editor. We need a second pair of eyes on our work. So there are also lots of writing tips on the CWA website, compiled by the Secretary of the CWA, the wonderful Dee, who is administrator of the Debut Dagger competition and editor-in-chief at Fiction Feedback editing site. Here are just a few writing tips of my own. Number one, find the time of day that suits you best. Lee Child said, and I quote, "Nothing of any importance was ever achieved in the morning." That's something that resonates with me, as I'm rarely creative before midday. But we're all different and there are no rules about this. Ruth Rendell said, "Find your own time and place." So discover what works best for you and stick to it. Number two, well, it's a common adage to write about what you know. But if it was necessary to kill someone before writing about the experience, we'd have very few crime novels or much fuller prisons. As a writer, you are blessed with empathy and imagination. Use them and write about what inspires you. Number three, F. Scott Fitzgerald said, and I quote, "You don't write because you want to say something. You write because you have something to say." If you don't have a story that you need to tell, then forget about writing for now until a story arrives in your head. Number four, and finally, whatever help and guidance you receive along the way, never forget that you are the writer. Above all else, trust yourself. And now comes the moment we've all been waiting for, the announcement of the Debut Dagger Longlist 2021. I feel we should have at least a drum roll here, if not trumpets playing. So in a world exclusive, the list that has not yet been published anywhere and will appear, thank you for the drum roll from Sarah Eckford. The list will go up on the, says Lindsay. This list will be published on the CWA website at 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. It has not yet been published anywhere. So here we go, a world exclusive. I apologize in advance if I mispronounce any names. These are in alphabetical order of surname. Peter Boland, Savage Games. Zach Daniel, the Tonganoxie Split. Sorry. Kerry Eaton, Long Egg. Ashley Harrison, The Looking Glass Spy. Fiona McPhillips, Underwater. Karen Milner, Sister Killer. Julie Nugent, The Lying Days. Bieber Pierce, Rough Justice. Hannah Redding, Deception. Edward Regenai, Lightfoot. Elizabeth Todman, The Tunnel Runners. Jennifer Wilson O'Reilly, Mandatory Reporting. These will all be up on the website. I'm so glad. I apologize in advance for any mispronunciations, but congratulations to all of the writers who've been longlisted this year. And congratulations to everyone who has had the talent, the stamina, and the guts to enter the competition. One thing that shines through from what we've seen is that many of the winners have shown persistence. So if your name isn't on the list this time round, do enter again next year. Do check the entry rules, as these are subject to minor alterations from year to year. But one rule that never changes is that you mustn't have a literary agent by the time the competition closes, and you must never have had a publishing contract for a full-length adult novel. The competition opens on the 1st of October every year and closes at 6 p.m. on the last working day of February. So put a note in your diary and get writing and polishing those manuscripts. I'm Leigh Russell. I do hope you look at my website, leighrussell.co.uk, where you can subscribe to my newsletter and ask me questions. I'd love to hear from you, and good luck with your writing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Leigh, and congratulations to everyone. How exciting. I'm sure so many people are thrilled right now at home and will be celebrating tonight into the evening. And for those of you that didn't enter this year, that have just come along to find out more, this could be you next year. So what did you say the entry dates are? It opens in October, is that right?
The competition opens on the 1st of October every year and closes at 6 p.m. on the last working day of February. All the dates and the regulations, everything is on the Crime Writers Association website, the cwa.co.uk, and you can always contact me if you have any questions, if you didn't jot something down and you want to know. So it's all available online.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations, everyone. I can't wait to see who moves forward into the shortlist and then to read the winning novel. All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming along. See you soon.
We're all off to do some writing now.
Yeah, everybody.
I'm off to read the